Hey there, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're going deep into the world of social engineering,
Ooh, fun.
where human psychology meets cybersecurity.
Yeah.
You've shared two really insightful pieces with us, excerpts from Imperva's article on social engineering attack techniques
Right.
and IBM's overview of the topic.
Okay.
And let me tell you, getting ready for this deep dive has me looking over my shoulder at every email and phone call.
It is eye-opening stuff for sure.
Yes.
It really is. We think about cybersecurity as, firewalls and complex code,
hmm
but social engineering is a reminder that humans are often the weakest link in
If
the chain.
So for our listener who's maybe just starting to learn about this,
Yeah.
let's define what social engineering actually is.
Okay, so at its core,
Yeah.
social engineering is all about deception.
Okay.
It's the art of manipulating people into making security mistakes or giving away sensitive information.
mm
Think of it as hacking the human operating system
Right.
rather than the computer itself.
Okay. Interesting. And
Yeah.
what makes it so different from other cyber threats?
Oh,
Is it because it preys on our emotions and instincts?
precisely.
Okay.
That's what makes it both fascinating and incredibly dangerous.
Yeah.
Cybercriminals
Uh-huh.
leverage our natural tendencies, trust helpfulness,
Mm.
even fear to achieve their goals.
Right.
It's a lot easier to trick someone into clicking a link
Sure.
than it is to break through layers of digital security.
Okay. That's starting to make me a little paranoid.
Yeah.
I mean, we
Yeah.
all get those suspicious emails or encounter those too good to be true offers online.
Right.
Can you give us a sense of just how prevalent these attacks are?
They're more common than you might think.
Really?
The Imperva article actually breaks down 5 of the most common social engineering techniques,
Okay.
and I guarantee you've at least encountered some of these.
All right, lay it on me.
Okay,
What are these 5 techniques?
we'll start with baiting,
Okay.
which preys on our desire for something enticing. Think free downloads exclusive offers things that seem too good to pass up.
Uh-huh.
Remember those free music websites that were popular a few years back?
Oh, yeah.
Some were actually cleverly disguised traps to spread malware.
I think I narrowly avoided falling into one of those traps back in the day.
Yeah, they were everywhere.
Okay, so baiting uses temptation.
Yes.
What's next on the list?
Well, then there's scareware,
Okay.
which takes the opposite approach.
Okay.
It relies on fear and urgency,
Correct.
bombarding you with alarming pop-ups and warnings about viruses or system errors, urging you to download fixes
Right.
that are actually malware in disguise.
Ooh, those are the worst.
I know, right?
You know, those scareware tactics almost make you nostalgic for the days of simple pop-up ads.
I know it's true.
At least those were just annoying, not actively trying to hijack your computer.
Right. It's all about exploiting that moment of panic
Uh-huh.
to bypass our rational thinking.
Makes sense.
But it doesn't stop there.
Oh, no.
Another technique is pretexting, which involves crafting a believable scenario to gain your trust.
Uh-huh.
Think of someone posing as a tech support agent or a bank representative, using convincing jargon and details to extract sensitive information.
That's just straight up sneaky.
I know.
It's like they're playing a character to get what they want.
They are.
It makes you wonder, how do they know what details to use? What
Mhm.
kind of story will work on a particular person?
That's where the research and planning come in.
Okay.
And this leads us to the 2 most notorious techniques, phishing and spear phishing.
Phishing.
Yes.
That feels like the one we hear about most often.
Right.
Is it really that effective?
It's surprisingly successful,
Wow.
precisely because it casts a wide net.
Okay.
These are your classic spam emails, often disguised as messages from legitimate organizations asking you to update your password or verify account information.
Uh-huh.
They rely on volume, hoping enough people will click on those malicious links.
Okay, so phishing is the spammy cousin.
Yes.
But what about spear phishing? Is that even more devious?
Spear phishing is the laser-focused sniper rifle compared to the shotgun blast of phishing.
Oh.
It targets specific individuals or organizations using carefully researched details to create highly personalized messages.
Ah.
Imagine getting an email that looks like it's from your boss,
Okay.
asking for a confidential document. It's
Right.
incredibly convincing
Yeah.
and often very effective.
Wow, that's scary.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like we're surrounded by digital landmines.
Kind of.
But before we spiral into complete paranoia,
Yeah.
I think our listeners are probably wondering the same thing I am.
Okay.
Why does this even work?
Right.
What makes us so susceptible to these psychological tricks?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it takes us into the realm of human psychology,
Okay.
which the IBM article dives into beautifully.
Uh-huh.
You see, social engineers are masters of exploiting our cognitive biases.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Break that down for me a bit.
Sure.
What exactly are these cognitive biases, and how do they play into all of this?
Well, imagine you're scrolling through hundreds of emails a day.
Right.
Your brain naturally looks for ways to simplify things, right?
Sure.
We rely on these mental shortcuts, these biases, to make quick decisions without overthinking every detail.
So we're wired to take the path of least resistance?
Yeah,
Even if it means skipping a few security checks along the way.
exactly.
Yeah.
And social engineers know this.
Uh-huh.
They tap into our inherent trust in authority figures, our fear of missing out on a great deal, even our desire to be helpful.
Right.
They play on these biases, making us more likely to click that link or reveal that password without a second thought.
So in a way, our own minds are working against us.
Yeah.
This is getting deep,
It is.
but we've got to dive deeper. Tell
Yeah.
me more about these specific biases and how they're weaponized in these attacks.
Okay, let's do it. Let's start with one we've already touched on, the authority bias.
Okay.
We're conditioned to trust and obey figures of authority, whether it's a police officer, a doctor.
Uh-huh. Or even someone who simply sounds confident and knowledgeable.
So that explains why those fake tech support calls or emails that look like they're from a CEO are so effective.
Right.
We're primed to believe them because they're tapping into that authority bias.
Exactly.
Okay,
We let our guard down because we assume these figures have legitimate reasons for their requests.
makes sense.
Another powerful bias is the scarcity bias.
Okay.
We place a higher value on things that are scarce or in limited supply.
Oh, I definitely fall for that one.
Yeah.
Limited time offers exclusive deals.
Yeah.
It's like a psychological trigger that makes me want to buy things I don't even need.
That's the scarcity principle at work.
Wow.
Social engineers use it by creating a sense of urgency, making you think you'll miss out on something valuable if you don't act quickly.
Right.
And that pressure often leads to impulsive decisions, bypassing those critical thinking skills.
So it's like those countdown timers on online sales. They're literally designed to exploit our fear of missing out.
Precisely.
They create a sense of panic, making us more susceptible to manipulation.
Okay.
Then there's the social proof bias, which
Yep.
taps into our tendency to follow the crowd.
Okay.
We're more likely to do something if we see others doing it.
Like those online reviews that make a product seem amazing,
Oh.
even if it's a total scam.
That's a classic example. Social engineers might create fake testimonials or even hijack real social media accounts to make their scams seem more credible.
Right.
They rely on our inherent trust in the opinions of others, especially when those opinions are presented in large numbers.
So it's like a digital version of peer pressure, making us second guess our own judgment because everyone else seems to be on board.
Yeah,
This is fascinating, but also a little unsettling.
it is.
Okay.
And there's one more bias I'd like to highlight, the reciprocity bias.
Okay.
We feel obligated to return favors and repay kindness.
Ah, like those free samples they give you at the grocery store, hoping you'll feel obligated to buy the full product.
Exactly.
Okay.
Social engineers might use a similar tactic, offering a small gift or doing a seemingly helpful favor to build rapport and create a sense of obligation.
So they're essentially buttering us up, making us feel like we owe them something, which then makes us more likely to comply with their requests.
Right.
It's all starting to make sense now. It's like they're using psychology against us.
They are.
This has been incredibly insightful,
Good.
but I think our listeners probably wondering the same thing I am.
Okay, what's that?
Knowing about these psychological tactics is one thing,
Yeah,
but how can we actually protect ourselves in the real world?
that's the million-dollar question.
Right.
And thankfully, there are a number of practical steps you can take to reduce your risk,
Okay.
even if you feel like you're constantly under psychological assault.
Okay, let's hear them. I'm ready to start building my defenses.
All right, the first and most important step
Uh-huh.
is to be wary of unsolicited communications.
Okay.
Whether it's an email, a text message, a phone call, or even a direct message on social media,
Mm-hmm.
if you weren't expecting it, treat it with extreme caution.
So don't open attachments or click on links from senders you don't recognize.
Exactly.
Uh,
And pay close attention to the sender's address.
Right.
Look for subtle misspellings or variations that might indicate a phishing attempt.
Okay.
Also, be very suspicious of messages that create a sense of urgency or pressure you to act quickly.
Okay.
Remember, legitimate organizations rarely use those tactics.
So those emails that say your account has been compromised and you need to reset your password immediately.
Yes,
Red flag alert.
absolutely. Always go directly to the source.
Right.
If you're concerned about an account, visit the official website or app.
Uh-huh.
Don't click on links in suspicious emails.
Okay, so be cautious about unsolicited communications and look out for red flags.
Yes,
What else can we do to protect ourselves?
verification is key.
Okay.
If someone contacts you asking for personal or sensitive data,
Uh-huh.
don't just hand it over. Take the time to verify their identity
Okay.
and make sure the request is legitimate.
So if someone calls claiming to be from my bank, I should hang up and call the bank directly using the number on my statement.
Precisely.
Okay.
Don't use the contact information provided in the suspicious communication.
Got it.
Find the official contact details yourself to be sure you're reaching the right people.
That's a great tip.
Yeah.
What about online forms that ask for personal information?
Mm-hmm.
How can we know if they're safe?
Always look for signs of security.
Okay.
Before entering sensitive data, make sure the website is using HTTPS.
Okay.
You'll see the HTTPS in the address bar and a padlock icon,
Right.
indicating that the site is using encryption to protect your information.
So no HTTP without the S.
Right, that S stands for secure,
Okay.
and it's your first line of defense.
Oh, got it.
Also be wary of sites that look unprofessional or have obvious spelling or grammatical errors.
Uh-huh.
Those can be red flags for phishing sites designed to steal your information.
I'm taking notes. This is really helpful.
Yeah.
So we've covered unsolicited communications,
Yes.
verifying requests, and
Yeah.
looking for signs of security online.
Mm-hmm.
What about social media?
Yeah.
Seems like such a hotbed for scams and phishing attempts.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Social media can be a goldmine for social engineers,
Right.
but there are steps you can take to protect yourself.
Okay.
Be mindful of what you share online,
Uh,
especially personal details like your birthday address or phone number.
so maybe hold back on those detailed vacation plans and location tags.
Exactly.
Okay.
Limit the information you make publicly available.
Right.
Also, take a few minutes to review your privacy settings on each platform.
Okay.
Make sure you're only sharing information with people you trust.
Uh-huh.
And be cautious about connecting with people you don't know in real life.
Good point. I think a lot of people forget about those privacy settings. Out of sight, out of mind.
It's easy to overlook.
Yeah.
But those settings can make a big difference in controlling your online presence.
And limiting the information available to potential scammers.
Okay, so we've talked about being wary of unsolicited communications, verifying requests for information,
Mm-hmm.
looking for signs of security online, and being mindful of what we share on social media.
Right.
Are there any other practical steps we can take?
One of the most important things you can do is to stay informed
Okay.
about the latest social engineering tactics.
Uh-huh.
The bad guys are constantly coming up with new and creative ways to trick us.
Right.
So we need to stay one step ahead.
So stay up to date on the latest scams. Is that something we can even do proactively?
Absolutely.
Okay.
There are a lot of great resources out there.
Like what?
Websites of security software companies, organizations like the Better Business Bureau, even government agencies like the Federal Trade Commission.
Uh-huh.
They all have sections dedicated to consumer education and alerting people to current scams.
Okay, so we can check those resources regularly. What about those security software programs? Are they worth investing in?
Absolutely.
Antivirus, anti-malware, and anti-phishing software can be a lifesaver.
Yeah.
Think of them as your digital bodyguards,
Okay.
scanning your devices for malicious software and blocking phishing attempts before they reach your inbox.
So they're like a safety net, even if we slip up and click on a suspicious link.
Exactly.
Okay.
They can't prevent every attack,
Right.
but they can significantly reduce your risk.
Okay.
And keep in mind, software updates are crucial.
Mhm.
Those updates often include patches for newly discovered vulnerabilities.
Right.
So make sure your software is always up to date.
So it's like getting a flu shot for your computer, boosting its immunity against the latest threats.
Perfect analogy.
I like it.
And just like with physical health, prevention is key.
Okay, so we've got a lot of great tips here. But let's be realistic. Even the most cautious person can sometimes fall for a social engineering trick. What should we do if we think we've been scammed?
That's an important question.
Yeah.
And the first thing you should do is change your passwords. For any accounts that might have been compromised,
Uh-huh.
if financial information was involved, contact your bank or credit card company immediately
Yeah.
and report the fraud.
Okay, change passwords and report any fraudulent activity. What about credit monitoring? Is that something we should consider?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You might also want to place a fraud alert on your credit report or consider signing up for a credit monitoring service.
Okay.
This can help you detect any suspicious activity early on.
What about the emotional fallout? I imagine falling for a scam can be pretty devastating.
You're right.
Yeah.
It can be a huge blow to your confidence and sense of security,
Right?
but it's important to remember that you're not alone.
Okay.
Social engineering scams are incredibly common, and even the most tech-savvy people can fall victim.
So it's not a sign of weakness or stupidity.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
It's a testament to the skill and cunning of social engineers.
Right.
They spend a lot of time studying human psychology,
Uh-huh.
crafting their tactics to exploit our natural tendencies.
That's reassuring to hear. What else can we do to cope with the aftermath of a scam?
Talk to someone you trust about what happened.
Okay.
Sharing your experience can help you process the emotions
Yeah.
and potentially prevent others from falling for the same scam.
So turn a negative experience into a positive one by raising awareness.
Exactly.
Okay.
And remember, there are resources available to help you recover from identity theft and fraud.
Uh-huh.
The Federal Trade Commission has a great website dedicated to this.
Okay.
And there are also organizations like the Identity Theft Resource Center that provide support and guidance.
Okay.
Don't hesitate to reach out for help.
That's excellent advice. It sounds like even after a scam, we can take steps to mitigate the damage and protect ourselves going forward.
Absolutely.
Right.
And remember, learning from our mistakes and sharing those experiences
Right.
can make us more resilient and help protect others in the process.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, from understanding the psychology of social engineering to learning practical tips to protect ourselves.
We have.
But I think there's one crucial piece we haven't explored yet.
You're thinking about the role of organizations in all of this, right?
Exactly. We focused a lot on individual responsibility,
Right.
but it feels like companies, institutions, even governments have a role to play in mitigating this threat.
You're absolutely right.
Right.
In fact, organizations are a crucial part of building a more secure digital ecosystem.
So it's not just about individuals being vigilant.
Not at all.
Well, okay.
Think of it as a multi-layered defense system.
All right.
Individuals need to be aware and cautious,
Uh-huh.
but organizations need to provide the tools, training, and support
Right.
to make that vigilance effective.
Okay, I like that analogy. A multi-layered defense system, it sounds much more comprehensive than just relying on individuals to fend for themselves.
Right.
So what are some specific actions organizations can take to strengthen those defenses?
Well, we've already mentioned security awareness training, and that's definitely a cornerstone.
Right, educating employees about the different types of attacks,
Yeah.
the tactics used,
Mhm.
and how to spot red flags.
Exactly. But it can't be a one-time thing.
Right.
Training needs to be ongoing,
Mhm.
evolving with the threat landscape.
Right.
Think interactive workshops, simulated phishing campaigns,
Yeah.
even gamified learning experiences
Right.
to keep people engaged.
I like that. Make it fun and interactive.
Yeah. What about beyond training?
Strong security protocols are essential.
Okay.
Multi-factor authentication,
Mhm.
robust password policies,
Right.
regular security audit, these are all part of the foundation.
So making it harder for attackers to gain access even if they manage to trick someone.
Precisely.
Mhm.
And it's not just about technology.
Okay.
Organizations need to foster a culture of security awareness,
Right.
where employees feel comfortable reporting suspicious activity without fear of reprisal.
That's a really important point. We need to create an environment where people feel empowered to speak up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Open communication is key.
Yeah.
Encourage employees to report anything that seems out of place.
No matter how small or insignificant it might seem, you never know what tiny detail could be the key to preventing a major attack.
So creating a sort of collective vigilance where everyone is looking out for each other.
Precisely. And don't forget about incident response plans. No system is foolproof.
Right.
Organizations need to have clear procedures in place for dealing with suspected or confirmed social engineering attacks.
That makes sense. Having a plan in place can help minimize damage and speed up recovery.
Exactly. It's about being proactive, not reactive.
Right.
And that proactive approach extends beyond the organization itself.
What do you mean?
Collaborating with other organizations and sharing information about threats is crucial.
Okay.
Think industry groups, government agencies, even competitors.
So creating a network of shared knowledge and resources to combat social engineering.
Exactly. The bad guys are sharing information and tactics, so
Yeah.
the good guys need to do the same. It's a collective fight, and we're stronger together.
That's a powerful message.
Mm.
And it strikes me that this idea of collaboration extends to individuals as well.
I see where you're going with this.
We can all play a role in raising awareness about social engineering, sharing our stories, and helping others stay safe. It's like a digital neighborhood watch.
I love that analogy. We can look out for each other,
Yeah.
share tips, and warn each other about potential scams.
Right.
The more we talk about social engineering,
Mm-hmm.
the less power it has over us.
Well said. I think we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We have.
From the psychology of manipulation to practical prevention tips
Yeah,
to the importance of collective action.
right.
We've really explored the multifaceted world of social engineering.
It's been a fascinating journey,
It has.
and I hope our listeners feel empowered to take what they've learned and apply it to their own lives.
Me too. Because ultimately, knowledge is our best defense.
Mm.
The more we understand about how social engineering works, the better equipped we are to outsmart the scammers and stay safe in our increasingly digital world.
I couldn't agree more.
Well, on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dive into social engineering. We hope you found this episode informative and empowering.
And remember, stay vigilant, stay curious, and stay safe.
Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. We'll see you next time.